Oh, for fuck's sake. Can you look at it? Look at it!
It's ugly.
Leslie always thinks it's ugly. Welcome to my review or presentation, really, of my Shabat Puma. Now, Shabat is a man who lives in Los Angeles, hails from the Israel. His name is Avi, and he's one of the kindest, funniest people, beautiest people you can ever find. My first run-in with him was at his booth at NAMM when he was pretty much pissed drunk with Jason Lawler on whiskey or something. It was a fun time, and we made a video of it. The following year, I visited him in... That's actually not true. I then met him at Guitar Summit, where he gifted me his personal guitar to tally with P90s called the... I'm going to say Lion. They're all based on animals. And damn, that's a fine instrument. And I played the shit out of that, as you've seen. Then I visited him at his shop in LA before NAMM and ran into a guy from the Philippines, who I now call one of my best friends. Hey, Perfecto. He is just the nicest freaking person. He can also play the fucker. I ran into him at the shop, had no idea who he was, and now I know who he is. He's the Filipino Bon Jovi. That's what he is. Also a big fan of Shabat and plays a lot of them. Then Avi decided to do a crazy thing during the pandemic and build me a flip-floppy colored Lynx HSS Stratty thing, which you've seen, you love. What a great guitar. And then we talked at Guitar Summit again. I said, well, the thing that I don't have is a Telecaster thing with the Das Wiggelsticken. Hey, Ryan Burke. The traditional, not super traditional. He's got a more traditional offset guitar. But I said, I played a Puma, one of these, at his shop and absolutely fell in love with it. It is in no way my kind of guitar. It's offset, which isn't my kind of thing. It's got a really kind of ugly tortoise shell thing on it, not my thing. This kind of tremolo, I've never actually really owned one with a Das Wiggelsticken traditional Jazzmaster kind of a thing. None of this is my type of instrument. And oh boy, is this my type of instrument. So he built this for me, held back all information until it arrived. Everyone that played it at NAMM, all my friends, they held back any kind of pictures, any kind of video until it actually arrived at my door. And they did it. Well done, Avi, you fucker. So you've seen this in many videos now, because I'm going to say the first 6 to 8 weeks after this arrived, I did not touch a single other guitar. This is how great this instrument is. Even though you might say that's not for me because of this and this and this and this, and none of it matters. This is, I'm going to make this statement happily, possibly one of the best guitars I own. I have about 60 or 70 of them. I don't know. I have many guitars. I haven't counted. And this is easily, in terms of the tone development, the sustain, the thickness of tone, the playability, everything you want in an instrument to make music with. This nails it above most of the others. Obviously not as a metal instrument. And I would say that my Panucci is probably the best single cut I own. But this is on the level of the Panucci, easily, but in bolt-on. Michael bolt-on. They got a little cutaway thing there, whatever you want to call that. Now, obviously, when you go shopping for these online, you're going to say that is freaking ridiculous. I saw one in Germany without the Wiggelsticken, just with a fixed bridge and not the cool color treatment, and it already clocked in at $6,000, which means that this probably clocks in at over. I'm going to say probably 6.5, maybe even 7, because of the color and all that stuff. But you know what? I know that's ridiculous. You're going to say, well, for a bolt-on guitar? Yeah, it makes a difference technically in price whether the guitar's bolt-on or set neck, because it's a little bit more complicated to do one over the other. Realistically, you're paying for the experience and the craftsmanship. I cannot justify that price because it is a rather high price, but the results speak for themselves. Now we're going to look at this. I cannot tell you really much about it. It's a Shabat. It's a Puma. It has my logo right there engraved. HP42 Puma. That is beautiful. Made in USA. It is a burgundy mist, I think. That's what it's maybe called. Which is kind of a almost flip-floppy purple with turquoise over it, and then sanded down, aged to absolute perfection, as the product shots in the beginning show you. You can see the neck is also aged. It is glossy, but not too glossy. We've got, a guitar like this doesn't have locking tuners. It should, but it doesn't. I don't even know what brands they are. It says who knows? They work. These are definitely Lollas. This is the Mastery Bridge, which, as far as I understand, is the best type of its type you can get. And that alone clocks in at more than some guitars I own. Volume, tone, 3-position switch, very straightforward instrument. But oh boy, does she sound phenomenal. Comes in, of course, a beautiful case with an embossed, I think is the word, or reingehegelt, as we say in German, Shabat logo. Everything about this instrument, as it should be in this price range, is telling you as the customer, we love you. We want to give you the best freaking quality on the planet. And this is the category that this is in. This is along the tone focuses, the Hubers, the Ritters. This is a fantastic instrument that is also made, and that's what I love about this, made to play with all its aging and stuff. This isn't a put it on the wall kind of a thing. So that being said, I'm going to run it into a similarly colored, come on, aren't these guys made for each other? Isn't this just beautiful? Rev D25, without the boost in, running through the aux with a 412 creamback loaded cab. On the floor, we got a Volta 1987 foursome drive, gives us all the Marshalls, and a Galaxy from UA, which is a RE201 simulation for delays and reverbs. And here we go. These are the clean sounds without anything. Now with sounds this enchanting, imagine if we added a little bit of space. Holy shit. It works by itself. But I mean, look at this. And that's why these are so popular, because they work. It just doesn't really go out of tune. And buttery smooth. I don't know why I always didn't want one of those. Always didn't want, that's not English. Well, I never wanted one of those, but I mean, that's, if you want to trim, that's the way to trim. Bit of a push in the back, but not too much, because we're going to kick in the Volta, and then Yeah, and then when we're pretty much done, this is a top-of-the-line instrument. Obviously, anything you get from Avi and his brothers at the Shabat laboratory is custom. So if you want whatever color over whatever color, and you want it non-aged, you want it opaque, whatever you want along the lines of his instruments. If you don't want the Puma, the trash being picked up. If you don't want the Puma, but you want a more traditional offset, he does that. He does the T's, the S's. There are models. Again, save your comments if you want to say, but so much money for... yeah, it's not cheap. If you have the funds for something like this, this is the brand that you should look into really before you look at the big F in all these guys, because I was at the shop. This is a tiny room with a tinier room next to it, really next to his house. And the guitars are made by people with love and skill, not in a big factory with names attached to them that call themselves master builders that realistically don't in any way, even remotely, work on this level. If you don't believe me, try to get your hands on one. There are shops in Germany and in Europe that carry them, definitely in the US. But maybe don't, because once you played one, this is what you will want for the rest of your life. Trust me. I feel extremely fortunate that I have 3 of them. And if I ever have to sell guitars, which I frequently have to do, they're not on the list. That's all I'm saying. Okay, thank you, Avi, for your friendship. See you at Summit. And we're going to put links below and animals at the end. As always, please like and subscribe and do all that stuff before you look at the animals or while you look at the animals. The clicks cost you nothing, but they do support me. So why in the world wouldn't you do that? And now, animals.